Hello and welcome to This Is. PlayStation's president Jim Ryan has been jealous of Philip Spencer's little hands and wants to get in on the action.
We're gonna get demonetized if you try to talk like that at the beginning of a video. So there's been breaking news over the last couple of weeks, and every time we sit down to start shooting this video, there's yet another rumor. This news breaks faster than PSN in 2011.
The big rumor going up around is that Sony is working on its successor to the PSP, the PS Vita.
Okay, well, no. Don't say it like that. Yeah, a successor would be putting it a little bit broadly because this is known as the quote-unquote Q Lite. I think we're missing some context here, but what the rumors say is that this is a handheld gaming device that has some like DualSense kind of like controllers and whatnot with a screen, but it is not designed to play native games. It's not even really designed for cloud gaming. It's designed for remote play. If you already have like a PS4, or I think probably PS5 in this case, you could stream it to your little handheld guy, which it makes no sense, Matt. You can just say that. It makes no sense.
I'm confused at trying to explain to you how you're confused. There's a lot of options out there for cloud gaming, and I don't think that this is only going to be for remote play. Here's the context that I think you're missing.
Go ahead.
So, all right, everyone knows there's been a lot of tech layoffs going on around.
Yes.
Sony has been not exempt from that. However, they have hired 22 new positions, and specifically one of them is to be the head of their cloud gaming division.
Which is interesting because if you remember a few years ago, Sony and Microsoft actually made an agreement that Sony's future cloud streaming tech would be based on Microsoft.
Here's where this device fits in. There's a lot of options for cloud gaming, and a lot of companies have been investing heavily into this. We see the G Cloud, we see the Razer Edge. Obviously, they're trying to compete with like some of the like the IO Neo, the Steam Deck, all this stuff. Like, I agree with you. It doesn't make a ton of sense on why you would buy one of these over something like just like using your phone. Okay,
so hang on. Before we go super deep on the theory here, let's just talk about what the rumor says, because again, I think we're missing some key context. Here's the thing, audience. I'm just gonna fill you in. We're talking about cloud gaming today. So Matt's getting a little, wiggly. I'm trying to just bring us down to off of Cloud 9. Supposedly what we've got here is a handheld device with an 8-inch 1080p LCD display and DualSense-like controls kind of bolted onto the side. For context, 8 inches is fairly large, right? It's bigger than like a Switch. It's bigger than what you get on like a Steam Deck. But the thing that doesn't make sense to me is that according to these rumors, the only thing that really is doing is that remote play. What makes this unique other than the fact that they can put a PlayStation badge on it and that they can include essentially DualSense tech?
I don't think you're missing anything. I think you're just overthinking it. Every company wants to try and get their into the cloud gaming space. I've been saying this for years.
Yeah, but 4
years. Okay. Cloud gaming is the future. But I've also been saying for years that companies are doing it completely wrong, which is why it hasn't caught on. If you want to get into the cloud gaming space, you have to have a $100 device.
I agree with that because let's look at the devices that are out right now. The G Cloud, which was originally gonna be like $350 or $400.
$400.
Right now is on sale for $250. You've also got yourself the Razer Edge, which we did a video on. Actually, yesterday I was at Best Buy and I saw some of the cloud gaming laptops. There was an Acer model that was like $420. It was down from like $600 or $700. So to me, it seems pretty clear that a lot of these devices that have launched over the last year or so that are focused on cloud gaming aren't really selling that well.
The target audience for it is someone who can't really afford a high-end gaming PC or can't really afford even a PS5. That's why like cloud gaming on your phone is so appealing, because for $10 a month, you have a gaming experience. You can play games. Yes, you guys are going to talk about how my internet's not good enough. It's a chicken and the egg type of thing. Cloud gaming's not going to really catch on in most areas until they build more data centers, so the latency is not as bad. They're not going to build these data centers until cloud gaming catches on. So
that's going to jumpstart it.
Right. I think Sony's they're just building their own version of the G Cloud. That's all this is.
Okay.
But what gives it the secret sauce is the remote play functionality of this.
How is that secret sauce? Why do you need a dedicated piece of hardware for cloud gaming when the phone in my pocket works totally fine? Here, follow your logic for a second.
No. Follow my logic for a second, because I agree with you. I'm not saying that this is going to be like the game changer. I think a lot of people will think it's a game changer just because it is PlayStation. And you know what, Sony ponies, I'm calling you out on that. The only thing that Sony can sell you on for cloud gaming, Xbox has won the software race. They're
winning it.
Right. Their service is miles ahead of PlayStation. So the only way that Sony can try and compete with these things is through the hardware.
That's hard for me to wrap my head around, though.
I agree with you, but like every play that Sony's been making lately, it's been hardware based. Oh, we're gonna do VR. They have to just keep like pumping out hardware because that's how then they can go and be like, we have the dominant hardware.
This is one of those things where I just don't think that most of these companies are on the right track. If you
they're
think
not.
cloud gaming is the future, and I don't really personally think that's the case, but I will agree, at least there's more room for cloud gaming, not only because it's an easy way to democratize the ability for people to play games, but also as a company, I would much rather sell you a subscription than I would sell you a game or a piece of hardware one time. So I understand the fundamental idea that cloud gaming is very appealing. Hold on, wait.
All right.
But the problem with cloud gaming from the hardware perspective is that you don't need any special hardware. These are designed to basically be apps, right? Look at what Microsoft have done with xCloud/Xbox Game Pass. These are now available on TVs. It's obviously on Xboxes you can get on your phone, yada, yada, yada. Because at its core, to really enjoy cloud gaming, all you need is an app and probably some kind of controller. And the idea that all these companies are putting so much time and effort into building custom hardware to be good for cloud gaming, when first of all, the experience isn't that great, and second of all, yes, it's slightly nicer to have like a 144 hertz display on like the Razer or whatever, but beyond the slightly better hardware, it's not that much different than your phone, and you're spending so much money on these devices that you might as well go out and buy yourself a Switch or a Steam Deck, which are handheld consoles that are in very similar form factors that could still do cloud gaming. But guess what? They actually have the performance to be able to play native games on the device, which is going to be a way better experience. I rest my case. These devices do not have a place right now. They don't make sense.
I think you are looking at this, and I think a lot of you people look at this way too one-sided. You only look at it from your perspective. I am not saying that cloud gaming is a better experience than localized hardware.
If it's
localized
good enough.
hardware is always better. But there are millions of gamers, let me clarify, millions of potential gamers who cannot either afford the hardware. We talked about Brazil a lot, but making older consoles because it's so cost prohibitive. Cloud gaming circumvents that. So think about it from that perspective.
Can I add on to your argument here?
Yeah.
There are millions of additional gamers who are probably intimidated. And think about so many kids today who grow up playing games on their phones and tablets and stuff. They're probably never going to be that interested in buying a console, maybe even a PC. If you can get these cloud games to be running on devices, it's not just a short-term bet. It's a next 10, 20 years, because you can imagine cloud gaming is going to get slowly but surely better and better, and the devices that it runs on will become absolutely ubiquitous. But while I agree that there is certainly a future to cloud gaming, there's no future to these pieces of hardware.
Yes,
they
there
only
is.
do cloud
Yes,
gaming.
there is. Yes, there is. I guarantee that this, whatever PlayStation one, I almost guarantee it's just going to be a reskin of Android.
I was going to say, you use Android apps.
I guarantee you're going to be able to run xCloud on there.
Sorry, you want to say it one more time? You guarantee that the PlayStation Handheld will run xCloud.
Why not? With cloud gaming, there's no localization to install it. If it's not on there, it's because Sony's going to be the little cranky, I'm going to take my ball home. Microsoft has said, we want to put everything on every device. Going back to the latency. When you're doing the remote play, your system is the data center.
Yeah.
Again, I hear this all the time of like, I'm in X country that does not actually support cloud gaming.
Sure.
I hear that constantly. The latency's so bad. Well, that's because you VPN'd into a network. Now you're wondering why the latency's so bad when you got a VPN across the world.
To your point here, I think it is worth mentioning that there is a difference between cloud gaming and remote play.
Yes.
Because cloud gaming is running on a server, who knows where. Remote play is running on your hardware. So say you're at home, your PS5's upstairs or whatever, you're on your local network. While there's always going to be a little bit of latency, it is quite minimal when it's literally round tripping around your router, as long as you have a decent Wi-Fi connection.
If you're on your home Wi-Fi, like data caps don't affect you. Now, if you're using regular cloud gaming at home, data caps do affect you.
Yes.
When you're using Microsoft's cloud gaming, you are using your data to do that. Now, if you're playing remote play and you want to just play, oh, my PlayStation's in the living room, but I want to play up in my bedroom without buying
there's no issue.
Another system, it does not affect your data cap whatsoever. So you're gonna have a pretty good experience of there's no latency, but minimal latency on if you have good Wi-Fi.
And I agree with that. But here's the thing: if I already own a PS5 and I want to play my PS5 games just in a different room, I could just do it on my phone.
Well, you could, but then you go back to the same issues. So we talk about like battery life for things, chip optimization for video decoding.
Dude, we're talking about a 1080p 60 PlayStation thing here. I will guarantee you that the experience on that versus your phone is going to be almost identical, short of the controllers. And you can just buy a decent controller for your phone.
Because then we get into, I want the actual PlayStation experience, which in this day and age is including DualSense. Oh, you're playing Gran Turismo laying in bed, and you can still have your adaptive triggers.
But in this scenario, I already have a PS5, so I can just play on my PS5. This is dumb.
But like, no, it's why is it dumb to have options?
I agree. As a consumer, options are great. But the problem is that these options that are great for us cost millions of dollars for companies to develop. So if you're Sony and you're going to develop this piece of hardware, you better be damn sure that you're going to sell a lot of them, because otherwise,
and they will, because it's PlayStation.
How about PSVR? How's a PSVR 2 sell through, huh, Matt?
According to the ponies in our comments, it's selling millions of copies daily.
Supposedly, they're about to do a price cut because it's selling so poorly. The only way I can really get my head around this is if A, it is incredibly cheap / free and included with your yearly PlayStation Plus
It'll never
membership,
be free.
Or B, it does way more than just remote play. Because again, the rumors that we're talking about specifically say it's for remote play, period. If you try to tell me that this thing will play PS1 games, it'll play PS2 games, it'll play PSP games, Vita games, that's enough. I would actually be okay. I can get behind this.
Right, but
the rumors aren't saying that. And if we just take this at face value, that this is a remote play only with maybe a little bit of cloud gaming stuff.
I guarantee this is just a reskin of Android, which means, yeah, it can play PlayStation 1, 2, and even some 3 games currently with depending on the chipset.
You think they're gonna let you install emulators on your PlayStation device? Like, hell no, man. They're gonna lock this thing so tight. It doesn't make sense. We're missing something.
All I'm seeing is this is a rehash of the PlayStation TV.
In case you're not familiar, the PlayStation TV was literally just the PS Vita without a screen or whatever. It's just a little micro console with an HDMI port.
So the millions of dollars they spent investing in the Vita, and then they said, okay, now we can make this more efficient and put it into a TV for a super cheap price. So they're gonna come out with the Q Lite, whatever.
Sure.
All right.
Which is just a code name.
Maybe the first one doesn't make total sense to you right now. But what about the V2?
Do you think the G Cloud would be better with a V2 or a Mini? Do you think the Razer would be better with a V2 or Mini? You have to fundamentally prove your business case for the first version.
But you also have
before
to.
you make
You
the second
also
one.
have to provide something that no one else can.
And this is nothing that we're hearing about this offers anything that you cannot get on your phone.
DualSense, playing with a control, like your phone on a controller.
Sure, I actually do agree with that.
That is not a comfortable experience, and a lot of people don't want to do that long term.
I know that for the purposes of this video, we're having a spirited debate about this supposed PlayStation Q Lite, which the internet has just overnight decided is a real thing that's totally coming out. All like, bravado and arguments aside. Does this make any sense at all? I just don't.
For me, if this is like $200, which it won't be, by the way, it won't be. If this is their way to compete with like a Series S, if this is a cheap way to get you into the PlayStation ecosystem, because that's what all of these things are trying to get you. So like, if you can get something that's way cheaper than an actual PlayStation 5,
right? Okay. Yep.
Like me, who does not own a PlayStation, I would be way more inclined to buy this than I would be an actual PlayStation. A big thing for me with cloud gaming is I don't want to buy a bunch of games that I like invest in a platform that I don't really use. If I buy this and then maybe pay 2-3 months to be able to play through Spider-Man, to be able to play through Last of Us Part 3 when it comes out. To me, that's a way better value proposition.
I will say
it saves me money.
You're actually starting to persuade me a little bit if you think about it from the perspective of this is a piece of hardware that is cheap. It's an entry to the PlayStation ecosystem. Imagine if they say, hey, you know what? We're going to have our studios, our great first-party IPs. We're going to start developing Android games, and they're going to be best on this Q Lite. I can actually see that that's an argument. Like, that's the first time.
I feel like there will be native games on it, just not the way you think they're going to be. Like, you're not going to, like, I don't think you're going to be seeing, like, Spider-Man natively on it. PlayStation has a great relationship with Square Enix. They love to port Square Enix games.
Matt, I've made a 180. If Sony released this at a reasonable price point, and it has a decent selection of games running natively, whether that is just sort of emulators that they have built, they'll play some classics plus some modern stuff, whether it's just they just rely on just damn Android and Sony start putting more games out on Android. If they can solve the game solution in one way or another, and they also give you the cloud gaming aspect of it, this actually makes sense to me. If though this thing is expensive, giant, and only does a little bit of remote play, it doesn't make sense.
I agree, and I'll agree with you there.
I'm now excited for our PS Vita 2.
I think it's gonna be the Xperia, but
how about PlayStation Portable? It's a good name.
We could shorten that down to PSP.
That's too short. I don't think anyone would understand what that means.
Oh, all right. If that's too short, we could say like PSP Go.
That's a great name.
It gets the portability.
Yeah. So it's PlayStation Go.
Yeah,
I love it. Love it.
Like, follow, subscribe, and let us know what you think about the PSP Go 2 Lite Extreme
running Android PS5 edition.